Hello, you guys. Welcome to Careerversity. I am your host, Liz Jayoba. If you're seeing this face for the first time, this is your cue to subscribe today. So, without further ado, I know you're here for the amazing topic, which is actually a topic that, if you're in your early professional, if you're in any stage in your professional career, this is a video that will help you really assess if you're the right role. It's really important because for you to know the next step, it's important for you to assess your current situations. So I'm so excited to be sharing five tips or five, I guess, telltale signs that it is time for you to exit, get up out of there before it gets messy. So we're just gonna go into it. Tip number one is the gut feeling, right? Many times, we all have the intuition, we all have that sense. I'm a Christian, I believe in the Holy Spirit will tell you things about everything, really. He's our helper. So, and even natural men have what they call the intuition, where you just kind of have this gut feeling that something doesn't feel right, something doesn't, that airy thoughts, that's, you just feel kind of like uneasy about the situation for whatever reason. So that's the first thing I would say. If it's your gut feeling, if it just doesn't feel right, you feel misplaced. You just feel like, yeah, something just doesn't feel right. So that's one reason. So think about the job you're in. If you have a gut feeling, and I'm not saying I'm going to, again, like I said, I'll mention five. If one or more of these things I've mentioned is a factor in your case, that's something to critically assess. We won't kind of jump out of the workplace immediately. And at the end, I'll definitely be sharing with you some of the things that you can start doing once you've done your assessment and you've realized that this is not it for you. So just keep watching. So number two, just like gut feeling, we always have to pay attention to our physiological, how we are reacting physiologically to a situation. I'll use myself as an example. There was a job I had, I'm not mentioning names, but there was a job I had. There wasn't really anything wrong with the company in itself, but I just physically just felt like I would come into work, park, get out of it, and the building, like the walls of the building, just gives me this irk. Like I just feel like I didn't want to be there. Like everything about it, physiologically, like I was reacting, like my body was reacting to it. So that's something that you should pay attention to. Like if you just feel like, again, the gut feeling, I think it kind of aligns with that because the gut feeling is what's going on in your mind, in your gut, in your like your heart. But this is more so how your body sort of interprets what's going on. So the third assessment that I'll say you make in determining if this is a right fit for you is if you lack psychological safety. So what is psychological safety? Like if you're in a workplace in a situation where you feel like your thought process isn't respected, you just don't feel welcome. They'll talk about all the bring your whole self to work. You don't feel like you can really share. You just feel paranoid. You feel like you don't trust anybody. There's a distrust. You can't really trust your coworkers. You don't feel like anyone's got your back. Even your managers, you're very skeptical of anything. That is not a safe situation. You don't like, in all fairness though, I I don't want to get into all the things because complete psychological safety also, it could be like kind of tethering to lack of emotional intelligence, because I won't say bring your whole self in that regard, but you should still feel in a situation where you just feel psychologically safe. You feel like, your work is respected. And when you start feeling like that is not the case, that is a telltale sign that you need to assess if this is the job for you. The other thing I would mention is if you feel like your growth has been stunted or you feel a stagnation, you feel like this is a dead end job. What I mean by that is, of course, you get into a job, you're really excited about the prospects of growing, you're excited about learning. But in a job situation where you just feel like there isn't an investment or a real focus on professional development, that is a telltale sign for you to leave. Even worse, regression. Like, have you ever been to a job, or are you currently in a job where you feel like you actually use more skills? Your skills, you put more of it into effect in another job. Like you actually did more with the skills that you have than the job you currently have. You just feel kind of like you're below you're used below your potential, right? Like I don't know if you're feeling that way right now, where you feel like you could do more, but for one reason or another, either the work is not being offered to you, or there isn't like a clear or a line of sight as far as like your career path. It just feels like a dead end. It just feels stuck. That is not a good thing. One thing is like you're either growing or you're dying. Even if you feel stagnant, it's only a matter of time before you start regressing. And I am of the philosophy that you always should live a job better than how you came into it. Like if you came into it with skill set level 5, they should be able to help you upskill or provide the tools and resources you need to either take certifications, take different courses for you to brush up on your skills and enhance this skill set, for you to better add, more value to the job. So in any case, if you feel just kind of stagnant, if you feel like, you're not being used to, I won't say used, but if you're not fulfilling and doing work in the fullest of your potential, that is a telltale sign that that is not the job that you want to stick around longer for. And the last and final tip I would say is if you just are in a toxic work culture, that is very overt, like that is very like telltale, like that is screaming, that is like warning signs that you need to get up out of there. No job, I always say, no job should get you out of character. The culture of your job should not change who you are innately. So if you're in a very toxic work environment where everybody is just doing whatever they can, people are disrespectful and it's a norm, people can curse you out in a job and that's fine. And you report to people and it's like, oh, that's what we do here. No, take your bags and get the heck out of there. No job deserves you to change who you are. And a lot of times people kind of play those silly games and they feel like, well, that's the culture here. I'm already here. I may as well just kind of, if you can't beat them, join them. No, I don't want you to do that. There's so much opportunities. You deserve more. If you're in a toxic work culture and work situation, that is your sign for you to be out of there. So what next? We've said all of these things. So if you've listened to me to this point and you realize that 1, 2, or maybe 5 of the things I shared is your reality right now, it's okay. Let's take a deep breath. We don't want you to just turn in your resignation tomorrow. You have to strategically plan your exit, right? One way to kind of do that is to, do things the right way. Many times people kind of have this disgruntled attitude and they burn bridges when they don't strategically plan their exit out of a company. You always want, no matter how bad it is, you always want to leave the door open, even for jobs that you never want to go back to, but you never know where you'll meet people in the future. Your job that your coworker or manager that you're leaving now could potentially be your referral or, even manager in the future. So I'm of the school of thought that you just never should burn bridges, no matter how, I won't say no matter how you're treated, because I get it. But again, we're all good, responsible humans here, right? And so I like to believe. So it's really important that, you don't just kind of like do things erratic. And many times that's what happens when people overstay their welcome, when they overstay. Because if you feel like all these things I've said is your reality and then you're still dragging on and on and on, it's just a matter of time that there's just one thing they'll do that will just set you off. And you don't want to be out of your character. You don't want people to kind of move you to that spot. So all of that we'll be covering in the next video. So I hope that you stay tuned. I hope that you stay tuned to this. Do not be a dropout. That's like my lingo to this channel. So thank you again so much for joining me on Careerversity, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Thank you and bye-bye.